Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback Friday, your opportunity to get some good review by listening to episodes from the past that Jason has handpicked to help you today in the present and propel you into the future. Enjoy.
Speakers, publishers, consultants, coaches, and info marketers unite. The Speaking of Wealth Show is your roadmap to success and significance. Learn the latest tools, technologies, and tactics to get more bookings, sell more products, and attract more clients. If you're looking to increase your direct response sales, create a big-time personal brand, and become the go-to guru, the Speaking of Wealth Show is for you. Here's your host, Jason Hartman.
It's my pleasure to welcome Brian Gruber to the show. He is President and Chief Technology Officer at Lucky Orange, and I discovered their product a while back and became fascinated at the kind of opportunity we really have to just offer this better experience for our customers online and all of the data that we can glean from the way they behave on our websites and so forth. So we're going to talk about that. You know, if you've heard of recordings of people's website visits, of heat maps, polls, that's what we're going to dive into today. Brian, welcome. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So, you know, most people have probably heard of heat mapping. Probably most people even know what it is, but not many people are really using it yet. I don't feel that there's any widespread adoption. Would you agree with that? And if so, why or why not?
I think that the people that know how to use it are using it. And there's a whole realm of opportunity that, you know, lurks there that just people are just not aware of the value of it or what they can actually gain from it. And also it's really a part of a bigger picture of understanding website user activity. Heat maps is really just one component that I feel like you need many different components to get the full picture.
Okay, so just in like 10 seconds, tell everybody what heat mapping is.
So specifically with our product, we actually give you 4 types of heat maps. So the first type of heat map will aggregate thousands of visitor sessions on a page of your site. So imagine you have a picture of one page of your website, and thousands of people went to that site and they all moved their mouse around in different ways and they clicked on different things and they scrolled to different lengths. So we aggregate that data into a visual heat map which shows you the hot and cold areas of the page where people are clicking the most, are moving their mouse the most, are scrolling the most, and we try to give you that kind of insight.
Yeah, that's great that you can do that because nobody's going to sit down and watch single visitors at a time. That would just take forever. Okay, so this heat mapping technology is really valuable like that. What about the polls? I mean, can you sort of, is it a survey after someone, you know, looks around on your website and surfs around there, or what is it?
Sure. So a poll is just a quick question that you can ask your users, you know, to get very quick feedback in an unobtrusive way. So, for example, you might see somebody, they might be on a sign-up page or a purchase page, and there might be some hesitation there. A simple question like, is there anything preventing you from signing up today? Right? That question can give you so much information. There will be people that will close it and won't have any interest, but there will be people that will fill that out and they will surprise you with their remarks. I can give you an example when I was first developing the website and I wanted to make adoption as easy as possible. So on the sign-up page, I had a process where you'd click sign up, you'd maybe pick a plan, you'd enter your email, create an account, and then you would get what's called a tracking code, right? This tracking code is the thing you need to paste on your website to make everything work. And so I wanted to be clever about it. And I said, well, what if I don't make people sign up for an account? What if I just make a tracking code and I just put the tracking code on the sign up page? There's no account creation necessary. It just says paste this tracking code onto your website. And I felt that that would get more people to use the software, more adoption, and just work out better, right? That was what I thought. And then I didn't see such a high adoption rate. So I used a poll, and the poll just said, is there anything preventing you from signing up today? And I left it with a yes, no, and enter your comments below. And I repeatedly got the following answer. It was, I don't see a sign up button. How do I sign up? So simple, but see, because I was thinking of things with my goals and how I would use it, but that's not my visitor or customer's goals, right? They had an expectation. And that expectation was I go through a sign-up process, even if it takes longer and even if it's harder. I go through that process and I expect that process. So it's very important to get in the mindset of your customer instead of being fixated and locked into your business goals and your own expectations.
What about privacy concerns? People have talked about this so much over the years, obviously, but can you track an individual user's IPs? Well, I mean, I'm sure you can do it technologically, but, do you have the IP address of the person and exactly where they clicked and what they looked at and where? Do you see the mouse movements or only the mouse clicks?
So I'll tell you how we work, and other systems might be different, but out of the box, if you just install our product, it's anonymous recordings. So what you would see is you wouldn't see any, hi, my name is Brian Gruber. You wouldn't see, keystrokes. If somebody's typing into a text box, it would just send asterisks across the internet. And you would see mouse movements and clicks going across the page. So you can actually get an anonymous version of a recording. We even have the option to strip the last 3 digits of the IP address if you're in a country that wants that. But there are some customers that already have customer data. Let's say somebody already created an account and they know this person because they logged into their system. They can choose to pass custom data in. So they might send a customer ID or something like that so that they can later on say, well, this customer was having this problem on this page and I don't know what they did. Well, we can go and look back and pull up their recording and see, what they've done. And we have a lot of options and ways to make sure that if there's any sensitive data on the page, that is never even sent across the internet, that it's blocked out and things like that. So but I don't think that, I think the problem is that the laws have not caught up with the technology yet.
That's always the way it is. I mean, throughout history, it's just always that way. Yeah.
So we're trying our best to make the best practices and give all the options possible, to do whatever we can when there really isn't any solid legislation. And countries differ on it, right? So every country is going to make their own.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's talk from the the marketing angle and just talk what do we do with this data once we get it? I mean, you talked about the poll, but I'm talking about, let's go back to heat mapping in general. How do we really use that effectively?
So let's take a step back and imagine your website as just, your store, and all these people are coming in through the door and they're doing something, and some of them purchase something and some of them leave. Right. And what we're trying to understand is what happened in that middle portion. How come we had 100 people come to the site today and only one person purchased something? What happened to that other 99%? And most of them will never tell you why they left. So all the tools that we provide are trying to give you that bigger view, that overview of the puzzle, but then you can drill down specifically. So if you were to look at a heat map, which is an aggregate of many sessions, you might see a pattern such as, let's say you see a bunch of clicks on a picture, and that picture doesn't even go anywhere. Right? It's not even a link.
Mm-hmm. They want it to be a link.
They want it to be a link, or perhaps the message of the picture is something they're interested in that you had no idea. Or perhaps they're clicking down far below onto your privacy policy or your return policy or something like that, and you just had no idea, right?
Yeah, they're obviously concerned about returns and what if this thing doesn't work out, yeah.
The other thing we do with a heat map is a scroll depth heat map, which shows you on average how far down the page people scroll.
Do they get beyond the fold? Yeah. Right.
Well, that's the thing about the fold. I think it's kind of a misunderstood misunderstood term, because usually when people talk about the fold, they're talking about the browser width and height resolution that is first seen as soon as somebody hits the page. And everyone says, well, put your stuff above the fold. But the truth is, people have a scroll wheel, right? Or they know how to scroll. There's a scroll bar. So they do scroll down. The question is, how far down did they scroll down? And so we'll take that information and say, this is where people scroll down to. And we'll see things right below that are your most important messaging that they never even saw. So they don't even know you offer it. So you take this aggregate view, but then you circle around to, okay, I see a pattern with this heat map or something. How can I go and look at that more, fine micro level? And that's where that recording does come in. And you're right, nobody wants to sit and watch 100,000 recordings. But we offer such filters that you can filter down to very specific types of recordings. Like maybe it's somebody who went to the checkout page, completed X number of steps, but never purchased. So now you can then watch that type of a recording and just see those recordings that you're interested in. And you will find things that will blow you away. You never thought that this is how they were using your website. And you'll see it the first time and you'll say, that user was just an idiot. They don't know how to use my site. And the second time, that user is also stupid. And the third time, oh, stupid user. Until the fifth, sixth, seventh time.
And it's a stupid website creator. Yeah.
And they're all using it just properly. They're good just the way they are, And so we have to, evolve our website to fit their expectations.
Yeah, right. We sure do. Okay, so how long does it take us to manage this thing? I mean, it kind of aggregates. I mean, I sort of don't know how you put together an aggregated view of a user behavior, because if one person's mouse goes up to the right and the other person goes down to the left, and how do you do that in a graphical? I mean, you turn these into movies, right? So are the movies an aggregated view of hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of visitors?
The movies are individual, so you would watch a single person from start to finish, where they came from. Let's show you they came from Google or wherever, and then they went from this page to that page to the other page.
I assume you compress them in time, though, so you can watch them really fast, right?
You can skip idle, you can speed it up, you can do all that kind of fancy.
But still, that takes a long time. I mean, no one's going to do that with their individual users over and over unless they've got, 20 visitors a month, maybe. But for anybody...
Well, what you end up seeing is, because we have a feature called behavior tagging, where you can segment people by actions that they take on the website, and then say, I only want to see visitors who hit our landing page. I only want to see visitors who click this particular button or whatever it is. But what's interesting about the data, see, with big data, we get so overwhelmed with so much information, but this is so visual. Imagine just taking somebody out of the hall, right? It's called hallway usability testing. You say, use this, and you sit behind them and you watch them use the website, and they will do something you never expected. This is the same type of a thing where you will see within seconds, you will see behaviors that you did not anticipate just by watching a handful of recordings. We saw people who would fill out a form, and they'd fill out an entire form. They'd get to the end of the form, and this is a lead form. So this is the whole goal of the website, is for someone to fill this form out. And they get to the end of the form. It says submit the button, and right next to the submit button was, I think, a privacy policy. And they'd click the privacy policy. And then it would take them to a new page where it showed them the privacy policy. They read the whole privacy policy, clicked back, and everything they put in the form was gone. And then they didn't even bother to finish it again.
Yep, that's happened to me many times. I can't imagine the millions and millions of dollars lost by businesses.
But they didn't even say anything. They didn't contact the owner. The owner had no idea.
What other tips, just as we're kind of wrapping up here, what other tips, strategies, tools would you like people to know about? Tools you have? I mean, you do more than the heat mapping and the polling, right?
Yeah, we do, from real-time analytics to telling you exactly who's on your website right now, where they came from, how they got there, all of that. You can even view their screen in real time. You can chat with them. So we also offer the ability to reach out and connect with people if they're frustrated or you see that they're stuck somewhere. And then you can co-browse and chat with them. We offer something called form analytics, where we'll take statistics of your form and tell you the individual fields on the form where people are getting frustrated, right? We might say this field somebody took 60 seconds on average to fill out, or this field was repeated 6 times on average. And then everything will play nicely together. So you might see that abandonment rate on form analytics. You could then watch recordings of people abandoning your form and figure out why that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. Really powerful stuff. Okay, good. So any other tips in general that you just want to share with people? Maybe it's something you can help them with or something in general.
Yeah, I think that your customers who are already on your website, they know why they're leaving. They know why they're not purchasing. And it's how do we get that information, from them? And I think if you use a bunch of different tools to try and answer that question of why are you not converting, some of them they'll provide to you up front. And you'll get that through chat or polls, and they'll just tell you why. And the others you'll have to gain from watching how they use your website. But it helps to figure out that full picture. And so you can go from that 1% to 2% conversion. It's a small change, but it makes a very large difference. You don't have to spend extra money bringing more people in. Improve the traffic that's already on your website because there's so much of it. I've talked to people and I've asked them questions. Well, how many people come to your website a month? And I'm shocked at how many small businesses, even medium-sized businesses, can't answer that question. They don't know how many are even coming to their site per month. They don't know how many of those people are really converting and how many of them aren't converting, right? It's an enormous percent of people that are on your website that never convert. So we believe in optimizing that path, that's the most efficient, cost-effective way to increase your sales.
So where should people find you? LuckyOrange.com, or you want to give out another site?
No, LuckyOrange.com would be the one. We're also in certain directories like Shopify. We're a featured plugin there, WordPress, BigCommerce, and we're adding more and more plugin directories to make the installation process as easy as possible.
Good stuff. I think this is just a great tool. I can't wait to start using it myself. Probably should have done it years ago. How long have you guys been around?
We've been around for about 3 years now.
Good stuff. Brian Gruber, thank you so much for joining us.
Just to add one more thing, we're happy to extend an extended free trial to all the listeners of this podcast. So just shoot us an email, tell us where you found us, and we'll extend your free trial.
How long will you do it for?
We'll double whatever it is.
There you go, listeners. All right, check it out, LuckyOrange.com. Brian, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thank you, Jason.
This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company, all rights reserved. For distribution or publication rights and media interviews, please visit www.hartmanmedia.com or email media@hartmanmedia.com. Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and the host is acting on behalf of Platinum Properties Investor Network, Inc. exclusively.